Welcome back to another Explainer. Today we're unpacking F5's absolutely stellar Q3 FY26 financial results. We aren't just going to read a balance sheet today. We're actually decoding the playbook of a company that is thriving in absolute market chaos. We'll discover the specific technological megatrends driving their success and look at exactly how they're capitalizing on a rapidly shifting landscape. Here is our roadmap for today. 1. Q3 financial highlights. 2. The 3 tech megatrends. 3. F5's unified security solution. And 4. Their raised FY26 outlook. All right, let's start right here, because this number is the absolute hook of this entire earnings report. 19%. That is a massive 19% year-over-year product revenue growth for F5. And what makes this so remarkable is that it marks their 8th consecutive quarter of double-digit product growth. You know, in the hyper-competitive application delivery and security space, sustaining that kind of momentum is a clear indicator that a company's offerings are truly resonating as mission-critical to their customers. So let's dive into Section 1, Q3 financial highlights. By the numbers. Taking a look at the top line, total revenue saw an 11% year-over-year climb, jumping from $780 million in Q3 of fiscal year 25 all the way up to $865 million this quarter. And this wasn't happening in a vacuum, right? It lifted the entire revenue profile of the company, further supported by a really solid 7% year-over-year growth in their software revenue. When we look at their operational discipline, the efficiency is honestly pretty staggering. F5 is sitting on a highly impressive 35% non-GAAP operating margin. They also pulled in $272 million in non-GAAP net income, which boils down to an earnings per share of $4.73. To put that in perspective, that represents a 14% year-over-year growth in non-GAAP EPS. They are operating with serious focus here and translating those top-line beats into major profitability. But why exactly is this financial success happening right now? Well, CEO François Locoh-Donou hits the nail on the head. As he points out, the escalating AI-driven threats to global applications are totally changing the game. AI has fundamentally empowered attackers, literally compressing the time between when a vulnerability is discovered and when it gets exploited. For businesses, security just isn't a static checklist anymore. It requires a continuous defense model. Which brings us perfectly to Section 2, the 3 tech megatrends, and how F5 is navigating all this complexity. Megatrend number 1 is the reality of the hybrid multi-cloud. If you work in IT, you know this headache all too well. Enterprises aren't just picking one cloud provider and calling it a day. They're building for ultimate flexibility, which means distributing workloads across on-premise servers, software, and various SaaS platforms. Now, this accelerates workload distribution, but it creates a deeply complex environment that absolutely demands robust, seamless connection and protection at every single node. Next up is what the report calls the AI inference inflection. Organizations are rapidly connecting their traditional apps and APIs to AI models. Inference calls, the actual processing of data by these AI models, are becoming a core part of how everyday applications even function. This massive shift is rapidly accelerating the demand for the exact kind of AI data delivery and runtime security solutions that F5 specializes in. Finally, we have an exponentially expanding threat landscape. As the CEO noted earlier, AI doesn't just help defenders, it empowers attackers. Threats are increasingly AI and agentic powered, meaning autonomous AI agents are now actively out there hunting for vulnerabilities. This translates to not just a higher volume of attacks, but attacks with far greater variation and sophistication. It basically makes advanced security an absolute continuous necessity for any enterprise looking to survive. Moving on to Section 3, F5's unified security solution, or what they like to call the front door. Honestly, the best way to understand F5's market position is to just think of them as the front door to the world's most critical applications. They've built an application delivery and security platform backed by 3 decades of expertise. Their primary goal is to deliver and secure every app and every API across any environment, whether that happens to be on-premises, in the cloud, or out at the edge. So how are they winning the market? Well, F5 is winning by simplifying chaos. Let's be real, IT teams are exhausted from managing dozens of disjointed security tools. By stepping in with a unified approach, F5 is actively turning hybrid multi-cloud upgrades into competitive displacements, meaning they are kicking out legacy competitors left and right. Furthermore, they're securing major digital sovereignty and platform consolidation wins, largely because of their unmatched breadth across on-prem, software, and SaaS environments. Add in their building momentum in AI data delivery and load balancing, and you have a clear recipe for sustained growth.
And that brings us to Section 4, Raised FY26 Outlook, the ultimate result of all this momentum.
Because of their operational discipline and that strategic market position we just covered, F5 has officially raised its fiscal year 2026 revenue growth guidance. Previously, they were targeting a very respectable 7 to 8% year-over-year growth. Now, they've bumped that up to a highly confident 9 to 10%. Raising guidance this late in the fiscal year is incredibly rare. It's a bold move, and it sends a massive signal of confidence in their current pipeline and their ability to execute.
And hey, it's not just top-line revenue. They've bumped up their expected non-GAAP earnings per share significantly as well. The new guidance expects EPS in a range of $17.21 to $17.33, up from their previous guidance of $16.25 to $16.55. This really proves that their unified security model isn't just popular, it's a highly profitable engine, building real momentum for the company as they look to the future. So, we want to leave you with this thought to consider after reviewing F5's incredible quarter. As AI continues to accelerate absolutely everything, from workload distribution to the speed and sophistication of cyber attacks, and drastically compresses the time between discovering vulnerabilities and actual exploitation, does your organization have a unified front door ready to handle the pressure? Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer, and we will see you next time.